Welcome to After 5 Radio, in conversation with. Each week we are in conversation with our artists in the diaspora.
After 5 Radio.
Alrighty, a good evening or good morning, depending on where you're tuned in from. Welcome to After 5 Radio, your favorite online radio station, showcasing Zimbabweans in the diaspora. I am your host, aka the Hype Lady, Miss ThandoAmy. I'm coming to you live all the way from Canada. And joining me today is somebody who is making waves all the way based in Toronto, but right about now we are in New York. Is that right, Miss Mupereri?
I'm actually leaving this morning for New York. I'm still in Toronto right now.
Oh, you're still in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yay! So it's today, like the fashion show.
Mm-hmm. No, the fashion show is on Sunday.
It's on Sunday. Ooh, we're so excited! But welcome on After 5 Radio.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, you're welcome. So, just to start off our interview today, bring our listeners up to speed with your upbringing, a little bit about your background, and all that fun stuff.
So I grew up in Kivu in Zimbabwe. I grew up on a farm. Actually, I'm a farm girl. And
Nice.
I went to school in Masvingo for primary school. And then I did my high school in Kivu, Daramombe High School. And came to Canada 2016, and then the rest is history.
The rest is history. Is about chasing our dreams now.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So without being biased, here's a tricky question for you. How would your family and friends describe you? We have 8 people who tuned in, and most probably these people are your people. How would they describe you?
Okay. My family, especially my mom, they would say I'm stubborn. When I want something, I'll get it or go after it. That.
Yeah.
And crazy. And fun. Yeah.
Crazy, fun, and stubborn. Do you think actually, you know how some people may take this personality trait as negative? Do you think stubborn is a negative personality trait, and why?
I don't think so. Or maybe we can say it's both, because as for me, I'm not just being stubborn, I'm being stubborn because I believe in something. And that something is great and it's positive. So why would it be negative, right?
Right, exactly. The reason why I asked that question is coming from a stubborn person as well. But but it's because it's been made to sound as though it's a bad thing. That's why I asked that question, because like you're
Right,
saying, if you
right,
believe in something, you go for it regardless of what other people are saying.
exactly.
Right. So I take that as a positive. So I thought I should ask, is that a positive or negative? But I guess it will be negative to those who do not know how to chase their dreams, I believe.
Or those who are not patient enough.
Those who are not patient enough. That is so true. And so when did you discover your passion for modeling? You grew up in Chivu. Well, you're from Chivu, grew up in Masvingo, and then eventually came to Canada. Was this passion, did it start since you were back home or since you moved here?
Actually, it's funny because in high school at Daramombe, I once did it was sort of like a pageant. So I
Mm,
competed, and I remember I was the oldest in that group. I was like Form
mm,
5, and everybody
mm,
else was like Form 3 going down. And I
mm,
actually won Miss Personality,
mm,
but I didn't do it because I actually wanted to compete. I
mm.
only did it because nobody in my class was going to represent the upper class. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then
Right.
I won Miss Personality, and but it wasn't anything special to me then. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I moved to Canada, I stayed home for like 2 years,
Mm,
immigrant
mm,
life, waiting for papers and stuff.
mm-hmm.
And I just started, liking magazines and like being curious, like magazines, fashion,
Mm,
and like how do people create magazines anyway, or like who owns
mm,
magazines anyway?
mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to own my own magazine.
Yeah.
And then in the process of wanting to own my own magazine, I kind of started modeling when I moved to Toronto for university. Um, I was facing like racism, discrimination when I was submitting my pictures to magazines. So then I was like, okay, I've been learning to create magazines, to make magazines. So I'm gonna create my own, and then I'm gonna keep doing this modeling, and then yeah, this just happened like that.
Oh my gosh, that is actually a phenomenal story. But then again, I have a question from based off of what you've just said, which is so sad that you faced racism, in the industry. But for some reason, I don't know, it's because I don't know the industry, like as an entertainment, fashion, and, you name it in Toronto. But I hear that it's mainly Black people in the industry, not like in Toronto, or is it true? Because they say it's saturated with Black people in Toronto and then Asians in BC.
No, I wouldn't say that, but
Mhm.
I would also say yes, we have a lot of black people in the industry, but the thing is, Toronto is so diversified, right? So we do have um, fashion community in the Asian, and then we have fashion community in the black community. We have fashion community in the Caucasian. Pretty much every race has like something going on in fashion. So that when you put all that together, it makes one fashion industry. But it's not just mostly black. There's also like Asians. There's also like even Persians, South Asians, Indians actually. Um, yeah.
And so, do we have a magazine out there, or at the moment we're learning from others?
No, actually, we have a magazine out there. It's called Just Be Your Desired Self, and we're actually about to launch issue 67. So it's been a long run.
Are you serious?
Yep.
So how come we don't see much of it though, like on the on socials?
Maybe you just missed it. It's even on my
Yeah.
social media, on my bio. Yeah. I'm
Because
pretty
I
sure
went through.
you have seen it, but you just didn't know, maybe.
Yeah, actually, hold on, because I saw Jimaro, the feature Malvi, is it
Mhm, mhm.
the
No, go
Malvi
in
and
my bio on Instagram.
right? Oh, in the bio. Okay, gotcha. In your bio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
hold on. Oh, okay, okay. Nah, this is great. As I look that up, we can be, continuing with the interview. But that is actually interesting and good for you. So when did you start, like, or establish your magazine? How long ago?
So 2020 in February. Yeah, 2020 in February. That's where we launched issue one. Yeah.
Girl, 2020, 4 years in it, and 64 editions. How? Do you release every month?
Yeah, we do every month, and at some point we're actually doing weekly. But then I was in school, and exams and stuff, so we had to go back to monthly. So right now we are in monthly, but we're about to
Yeah.
switch again to weekly. Yeah.
Oh, wow. This is a phenomenal. It is awesome. And congratulations. Good for you, girl. Especially when you persevere and
Thank
become so consistent with your work, it's like it'll pay out eventually. It'll pay off.
Thank you.
So without you just be wanting to be in a magazine, we've seen you doing runways, fashion shows and stuff like that. How then did you eventually navigate into that?
So actually, I started doing runways after the magazine was already there, right? By the time I did the magazine, the only significant thing that I've done was it was Miss World pageant. So I did Miss World pageant in 2020, same year. Oh wow. And then I won Miss North York. So the magazine actually was my beauty with a purpose. Because when you're competing for Miss World, you have to have a beauty with a purpose. So my beauty with the purpose was actually the art, and I was using my magazine.
Oh, wow, exactly. Ted Stan is like, wowza, wowza. Sawi, thank you so much for tuning in. Wow, that is so interesting. You actually took part in Miss World. Miss World Canada. Oh, Miss World. I'm thinking Miss World Canada. I am thinking I wanted to take part in Miss Canada Petite. I think it must have been back in 2017, I believe 2017 or 18. So it was like, oh yeah, do I
Yeah.
still want to do this? Yeah, petite, yeah. But yeah, I needed to lose more weight because I had gained weight then.
You can still do it though.
Well,
You
no,
can
but
still
then it
do
had
it if you want.
restriction. It had the age restriction. Like I was
Right.
literally,
Yeah.
yeah, I was literally on the mark when I wanted to compete. I was like, oh my
Oh.
god, yes, I am actually 30. And then I even spoke to the Miss Canada Petite then, and she's like, yeah, you can do it. I will support you the best way I can. And like I'm telling you, when you want something, you just go right in the DMs and you're like,
You just go. Yeah. You just go.
I know. So I actually get your world. So why then do you still do then pageant modeling, or do you now just strictly focus on fashion runways, because that's what we see a lot on your socials right now?
No, I don't do the pageants anymore, but I guess I'll go back sometime later. But for now, I just focus on modeling, and I'm actually part of a modeling agency here in Ontario. It's called Six Elements. So I'm actually the director of the company, and I coach models as well. So it's just fashion, modeling, runway, styling, anything fashion.
Check you out, and you actually answered the question that I was going to ask you next. Like, how did you get an agent? Did you need to get an agent for you to get into it, right? And how are your connections then? Like, as an agent, you're supposed to have good connections.
Hmm. So actually, I would say for Six Element for our agency, it's actually a blessing that I started my modeling the way I did, or I faced whatever problems that I faced, and because when I started, it was difficult. Yes, I did start out with a certain agency, but they were not the right for me. They didn't help me. They didn't give me what I needed to start. But I invested so much money, which I don't complain about, because after I realized that you invest so much into something and yet you get nothing from it. So then I started, I'm so curious. I started like, okay, same thing like I did with my magazine. Like, how is that? Like, okay, you pay for this and then you get nothing. You just keep paying. How is that? Right? Um, so then I started doing my own portfolio. I started making my own connections. I made so many connections. Um, the makeup artist that I work with, actually, I went with her to New York last year. She is one of the makeup artists that I started with when I started my modeling. And since then, we've just been working together on her project, on my project, right? So I took what I learned when I was studying my modeling and what I needed, what I didn't have. So then in our agency, we do the same. So if you're starting your career, we just don't sign you. We actually help you to, to start your career, to boost your career. And then we move forward. Yeah.
And so another thing for people who are actually looking for agents, you've actually noted something that brought about this question that I didn't write down. Is for somebody who wants to get into modeling, you mentioned that I tried to join an agent, but they were not the right one for you. How do you pick an agent for somebody who's looking for modeling agents? Because there's different agents out there. There's for music, for modeling, for acting, and all that fun stuff. How do you pick your modeling agents?
So first, you need to know what exactly you want and what type of a model you are or you want to be, right? So if you have never done modeling at all, you do need to do research, and you can't just believe everything you read online, especially on Google. So then you make your list of agencies, you go to multiple agencies, let's just say even three, right? You go to them, you ask them questions, right? So you are this, you want to do this. How are they going to help you? Because when I was doing my interviews, they never gave me a chance to actually ask questions, right? So no, they don't give you. Most of them, especially if they're about to scam you, they don't give you that opportunity to ask questions. And if you're asking questions, it means you know what you want or you know what you're looking for, right? Because if I ask you, how are you going to be able to help me? I've never done this. I don't have a portfolio. So if you don't have an answer, I'm not staying, right? And if they're gonna pay you to, if they're gonna tell you to pay thousands of money for headshots, you're going to ask them, how exactly are headshots going to help me? What am I going to use these headshots for, right? Because if you have headshots, but if you don't have a portfolio, so that means you're going to have to spend another thousand to build a portfolio. It just doesn't make any sense if you don't ask questions. But if you start asking questions, a lot of things will make sense, and then you will compare which agency is actually going to help you. Because being signed to an agency doesn't mean anything if you're not getting work, if you're not getting developed. You're just a number, right? So you ask questions and you pick the one that is actually going to do something for you.
And you know what's funny though, now that you mentioned something really important there, where, when talent is looking for agents, they have this fear of, oh, will they take me? Or will they? I feel like, what do you think? Are agents supposed to be the boss, or you guys work together?
You work together. You work together. At the end of the day, a talent or a model is a business, right? Just like me as an agent, I'm a business. So we are partners. We work together.
That is so true. And so, how has been your support system, though, since you decided this is the path that I want to go in or I want to venture into?
I would say it's been pretty amazing and impressive because actually some of the people who used to hire me, they're now hiring my models. So I'm like, amazing, right?
Oh my God!
So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I still have model friends who I see they support me a lot. I host
Mm,
events, I do fashion shows. They come to
mm.
my fashion shows, they come to my networking events because at the end of the day, it's not just my event or my fashion show, right? It's for everybody in the industry to make connections and to get something out of the night. But yeah, the support has been amazing. My mom, she's shocked.
Yes, this is exactly where we wanted to go. Your mom, like, Zimbabwean parents, entertainment is the last thing. Sports is close to entertainment, but sports at least, it kind of gives money right away versus entertainment. How long did it take your mom to say, okay, it is what it is? Because by saying she was shocked, it's like, okay, ndo shocked, ndo kana did.
Exactly. Wakaya Sagamari, Sagamari, that was the line. I'm not going guys also.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
well, I also have my aunt here, right? She lives in Alberta. She lives in Alberta with her family there. So before I moved to Toronto, that's where I used to live. So when I started doing this full time, I was actually looking for a job in the marketing or like media, social media, anything, because that's what I studied in school, right? But I've always known that I want to work in the fashion full time. But after you graduate, you still have to look for a job. So I wasn't just sitting, I was also looking for a job, but I was also looking for something that's going to get me to do fashion full time. And then God did, it happened, but during those times, they were on my ass.
Oh my God. And so how did you overcome all that? Like you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have just got into this and family, you're gonna have to understand.
Well, I didn't speak with them actually for months. Actually, it was difficult. Yeah, I I made a decision. I was like,
I love you.
yeah, that's why I say they say I'm stubborn, and I know it.
Yeah.
because I was when I was in university, right? I was bartending, and that was full time, by the way. I was in school full time, bartending full time, modeling full time. So the bartending job, okay, it was paying, but like it wasn't for me, and it was just mentally exhausting, and yeah, sometimes it would just be difficult.
Yeah.
So as soon as I graduated in June 2022,
Mm,
now I had to look for a job, and I'm also looking to get into fashion. So I'm like,
mm,
okay, I'll still look for my full-time job, whatever that I studied in my bachelor's degree, but I'm
mm.
also gonna look for what can I do in fashion.
Yeah.
So this wasn't sitting right with my mom, with everybody. The fact that I am I'm not calling to say, oh, I got a job in the office.
In the
So
office, you trust me, with the
okay,
pension, with security, with the benefits, with trust me, I get you. I totally understand you.
everything. Yeah, so it's like, it's not like I'm not applying. I just graduated. No one is gonna hire me with no experience, right? But I think they didn't believe that I was actually applying. But like every day, I would submit at
Mm,
least 5 applications. Indeed,
mm,
job bank, everything I was.
mm,
But just one day when I went to, actually, it's called AP Digital Agency.
mm.
It was like they had like modeling opportunities, but my plan was to actually talk about the marketing side because they had a marketing company. But when I went there, we started talking about my life in my magazine and my modeling, and then they started telling me that they've been always wanted to start a modeling agency because the models they work with, they're not reliable. So I was like, oh, at some point I had a modeling school with my photographer. So what the hell? That's how Six Element came out.
And talk about
Yeah,
alignment, being at the right place at the right time.
yeah. That night I went home. I was like, I called my mom. I was like, I don't know what happened, but I think I
Did
didn't
you get a lecture? Did you get a lecture from that?
No, actually, she was just happy. She was surprised and happy. Like, oh, you're serious? I'm like, yeah.
Oh my God, that is so funny. And Ted is
Yeah.
like, you are so destined for this. And definitely you are destined for it because it shows even in your passion when you're doing your photography or your work and everything. It does show in your passion. So it's like, we're not shocked. We're really not shocked, honestly. And Mama shouldn't be shocked too. She just needs to be supportive all the way.
No, she's very supportive. She's always on my Instagram, on my Facebook. She's my
Nice.
number one fan.
Nice, nice. And also, I got to do a boardwalk photo shoot, and yeah, and my family hasn't seen it. No, but
Was it a good place?
I actually put it on Instagram, not on Facebook. Definitely not on Facebook, but because that is where. So how
The other house.
that's where we have different audiences, like social media has different audiences, right? How did
Mhm.
your mom
Yeah.
take, like, like your photo shoot type? Because the reason why I'm asking is because I know where we come from, right? And it's one of those, oh my
Right.
gosh, I need to be exposing yourself. And up until now, my mom has this whole, as long as you're not gonna be, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, cool, yeah. But
Hmm.
know your limits, where to end and whatever, but they don't understand what your vision is. So how does your mom take it,
Hmm.
and how did she take it in the beginning?
You know, from the beginning, she's always said, as long as you're not posing naked. Because I remember when I was going for my first commercial photo shoot that I got booked for, and then I was telling her, oh, I'm coming from this photo shoot and I got paid. And then she was like, well, as long as you were not naked, right? But
Exactly,
I
my
think
mom.
that's
As
the
long
only time yeah. But I think that's the only time she said that because my mom is a fashion designer, right? So yeah. So if she's gonna see me in a jumpsuit that is showing cleavage, she's not going to be shocked. But I'm pretty sure obviously she's like, but like she doesn't you know, directly. She doesn't do that directly. Because for me, I have my limits, and when I'm doing something, I wouldn't do it if I'm not comfortable. And I wouldn't wear a miniskirt if I'm not comfortable. It's actually something that I wear because I know why I'm wearing it, right? If I am posing in lingerie, I know that I'm selling lingerie, not myself. And when I'm posting it because I'm selling the lingerie. That's why when I do my photo shoots in lingerie, it's not nasty, it's classy because it's not about me. It's about the lingerie. But
Hey,
so far she
I like
doesn't really.
it's not about me, it's about the lingerie. Yes, they need to pay attention to that. They need to pay attention to it for sure. And I totally agree with you. To me, my mom is the same thing. As long as you're not being naked, as long as, and I'm like, you pick your roles, you pick your everything. You need to understand you pick what you want and what you're comfortable with. But it only takes
Right.
time. It only takes time for them to understand. And I am so proud of you. So, what keeps you going and motivated? There are times when you get so tired, exhausted, you do a lot of work. You've actually gotten to work, go to school, and, work, go to school, and chase your dream at the same time. How then do you stay motivated? Because sometimes you end up burning out, right? Or have you ever burned out at all?
Well, actually, I think I do burn out a lot. These panic attacks and stuff, but it only happens for like a few minutes. I know how to deal with it. Um, Ever since I graduated, I think I've just been like, I pushed the button. I was like, I'm just going, I'm just going, I'm just going. So when I feel like, oh my gosh, this is like tiring or like I'm tired, I think I think of those days when I wasn't talking to my mom really, and when I wasn't talking to my aunt at all. My mom, it was just like hi after like a week, or like after like 4 days, right? So those days were really difficult. It was just me and my partner, but they were difficult. So every time I feel like I want to give up or like I can't do it, I'm just like, I did it when I actually was supposed to quit. Like I kept on going when I was actually to just say, you know what, I'm done. So I don't think anything can ever stop me. That's just my mindset. I don't think anything or anyone can stop me.
And I hope people are taking notes. I hope people are taking notes right there. Nothing can ever stop you. And we like that never tire attitude or behavior, because guess what? There's a time that when everything is now in order, that's when you get to rest and everything starts working for you. And it will come. Definitely, it will come in due time. And so, what's your favorite way to unwind after hitting the runway for how many designers? I don't know, a plethora of designers, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this month has been so exhausting. How do I unwind?
Yeah, how do I unwind? I think I just love watching fashion shows or live performances. Um, yeah, in bed. They give me a lot. I don't know. I just love watching fashion shows and live performances. Like I learn a lot from watching them, and I don't know. I can't do anything else. Like it's either I'm sleeping or I'm just watching a fashion show, just like paying attention.
Good for you. Good for you. And how do you get to New York Fashion Week level, girl? Like, I know a lot of people or aspiring models will be like, oh my gosh, she actually goes to New York and she does fashion shows and whatever. How do you get to that level for an aspiring fashion model?
I would say do as many runways as you can, go to as many castings as you can, and just keep building your portfolio. Keep doing like different things. Okay, like oh wow. Even if you love runway the most, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing photo shoots, right? Because the more you do things, the more experience you get and the more connections you make. Oh my god. But
No,
yeah,
no,
for me,
no.
I'm
Just showing all this work that you do. Hey, so that people actually know that we're serious about your work.
that's New Year's fashion last year.
Really? Yes. No, we found this on your socials. Don't worry. It's all up there.
Wow.
And you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. And talk about what you call, no, you said how, oh, you have connections and people that you talk to, but then think about, people who, or maybe how do you approach people, because some people have a mindset of, oh yeah, I want this, so I'm just going to talk to them when I need this, instead of building friendships and then building from there.
So exactly. So you can just say you're a model and you want connections. I want designers to work with me. It doesn't work like that because I believe that, as I said, we're businesses. The designers are businesses, right? So we need to be able to have a mentality of collaborating, right? Because even when I started my modeling, some of the things I wasn't getting paid cash, but like I would get so much value from working for a designer for like 4 minutes, you know. So you can always be thinking of, oh, they need to pay me. Oh, I need this. Now I'm gonna go to them. You need to have a sense of collaboration because from a sense of collaboration, you get the most.
Right, right. Usually that's how it works, really. And Ted is like, and suka digu New York. Oh my gosh, definitely, oh yeah, you were once in Alberta, you definitely did. He's so amazing. And also let's go to this one, baby. This one is a killer.
Oh my god!
Yes, 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 honey.
Okay, let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Funny story
Hmm.
about this one. As I was saying, it's about collaboration, right? So this
Yeah.
photographer, his name is Anthony Gordon.
Hmm.
I think this was the second time or third time we worked together. He didn't
Hmm.
tell me that he was planning to send this to Vogue. Okay, he just booked
Wow.
me for a shoot. I went. I did my job. I think a month after or something, I'm waking up. I have messages on Instagram, so many messages. And then I'm opening
What?
his DM. There's a link to
Hmm.
Vogue. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. I'm like, are you kidding me?
No, this is amazing. Trust me, like it is. This is huge, I would say. So when I saw this, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Excuse me. So which Vogue is it? Is this one? Is it Vogue US? Because I just learned that there's also Vogue Britain. I think Vogue Britain,
It's
the
in
one that Otto
Italia.
was invited to. Yeah. So which one is
Mhm.
this one?
I think it's Vogue Italia Digital, so they call it Vogue, like Vogue Eat or
Oh,
Vogue Photo, something like that. So it's
yeah,
digital.
yeah. Ooh,
Hmm.
check you out, honey. Check you out. Ah, no. Abasati vanzwa. Abasati vanzwa. Shukudaro. Mm-mm. Nah. No, this was actually a job well done. Congratulations to you, my love. So talking about magazine features, there's Vogue, there's Jimaro. Is it Jimaro or did I pronounce it properly? Ah,
Tomorrow, yeah. I say
yeah.
tomorrow too. I don't.
Okay, so Gumaro, I'm kidding, Jimaro. So Jimaro, the feature, Melvin, you name it. You've been on so many covers now, and express your excitement for the first time that you were a cover of a magazine, because everybody dreams to be a cover, and now for you, it's like drinking water.
Actually, no. It's not like drinking water for me.
Well,
No.
we
Like
have seen more than two.
the thing is, every photo tells a story. Every photo or every project has its own, you know, story behind it. So like, if it's gonna be on the magazine cover, wow, um, you always gonna celebrate it. I think even Naomi can be celebrate all her magazine covers because it's always like, wow, look at this picture, especially if you're holding it in a print. Wow.
Talk about excellency, baby. Talk about it. So, but then again, so what has been like the most memorable? Would it be just being on the runway, being on a magazine, like your most memorable or biggest highlight of your modeling career so far?
I would pick Vogue, but then hmm, being able to actually have a modeling agency and to actually do the same, like my modeling at the same time, I would say that's the biggest thing for me because um I learn a lot from coaching models, right? And then I still have a challenge to want to go out there and learn more, not for me, but for my models. So I think that's like something huge for me, that part.
With your agency, then, which brings me to your height and your models. Do you have a specific height when you're taking in models, or how does your agency work?
No, so I'm the one actually who scouts, who say yes or no, and
Hey, so do
I
you
don't
take
look at height.
you're in Toronto so I can apply right now?
Why? So I don't look at height. I
Hmm.
don't look at how beautiful you are, or because for me, I've realized that a lot of times it's about personality, it's about attitude, right? I have seen designers taking a plus size model because when they are walking, they have a runway presence, stage presence, runway
Mm-hmm.
presence, they say, right? Um, because they can make people focus on what they are wearing, right? And then you have a 5'8", 5'9" model who is barely on the runway, just like dragging themselves on the runway, So it's about that.
Okay,
You need to
okay.
sell the clothes.
Hmm. Oh wow, this is quite
Yeah.
interesting. And you're creating ideas in my mind, but I guess these ideas are for off camera. So we will talk off camera. Because yeah. No, it's good to learn. Like, this is the purpose of this this interview, where people get to know about you. People get to know how to, if they need to work, how to work with you really, or how to collaborate with you more than anything. And this is, something that I'm like, you know what? I am so glad that we got to sit down and get to learn about your journey. And little did we know that you actually own a modeling agency, which is huge. Not a lot of people are able to run modeling agencies because, like I said, you need to know people. It's as good as casting directors, modeling agents. Those are the most biggest people, or the most crucial people in the industry more than anything. So it's like, wow, girl, I salute you. I salute you. I give you your crown. You deserve it all because you are doing amazing. And so, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You're learning a lot. You have your own agency. You want to do all these things. You have your own magazine. So, in 5 years, what should we expect from Lady D?
You know, I this is not my first interview, and I've never been able to answer that question because I tried once, and if I want to go back to what I said, it's not making sense.
No, we want to hear it. How do you know that it's not making sense to you?
No, with me, I love to just go. I just love to
Yeah,
go, and I'm so open to new possibilities.
nice.
But one thing that I know though is that I want my agency to be number one, to be the best agency that has everybody for every brand, for every company. I want to be able to provide talents, to provide models to anyone who is looking to hire models. And as for me, I want to be the best director and the best model. I want to help a lot of people. I want to be able to just one day, I'm like, oh wow, I remember this person. That's it. I just want
That's
to walk, see someone on the billboard. I'm like, wow, that's her. Because,
right.
right now, we're just a year old, right? And we have a few models that we started with when we were really, really starting. Like, we
Mm,
didn't have connections. We were just
mm,
struggling to do everything. Even to do a photo shoot, we were struggling. So we had people
right.
who came in, they didn't know how to pose. They
Yeah,
didn't have enough confidence. They just didn't
yeah,
know what exactly to do. But you look at
yeah.
them now, they also have been in magazines. They
Oh
have
wow.
done runways. So I'm
Wow.
like, that is all the success that I want. I'm good if it's like that. If I can help
Right.
someone to do something,
Yeah.
I'm good.
And there you've
Yeah.
just defined success for us. If we were to ask you define success, that is success for you. Right
It's
there.
success.
Right. And as you go. So what advice would you give as we conclude tonight's or to this morning's interview? What advice would you give to an aspiring model who's thinking, do I want to get into this even if I am not as confident in even in as much as you're going to teach them? Like, but then again, sometimes maybe fear will cripple in and, how do they go about it? So what advice would you give them?
I would say first, before you even go to an agency, or yeah, before you go to an agency, before you say, okay, I wanna do this, you have to know why you wanna do it. Like
Mm,
the why part has to make sense.
mm,
If it's about one of those things, oh, I wanna do modeling because I wanna become famous. Oof, no,
not
it
gonna
doesn't work
work.
like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that, right? You
Mm,
need to have the right mindset, and you
mm.
need to be able to ask questions, and yeah, and just keep believing in yourself. Don't believe everything that you read on social media. Make sure you ask the right questions
Don't read
and just
everything
keep
that you read
going.
on social media. That is so true because your social media can be so misleading.
Especially nowadays with all these agencies and stuff, there are people who do videos. I see that on Instagram sometimes. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
oh, number one, if you see a modeling agency like this, don't trust them,
Yeah.
don't sign with them. I'm like, great, you're gonna sign with an